Heidi. Chapter 7 Homesick. As the days passed, Heidi talked of nothing but Peter and the goats, grandfather and the mountains. She grew more and more unhappy. I must go home today, she would say each day, but Clara would persuade her to stay, saying,
"Just wait until Papa comes home."
At last, Heidi could wait no longer. She took the rolls she had saved for grandmother, put on her straw hat and shawl, and set off for home. But Frau Rottenmeier found her and marched her back to the house. "How could you leave this beautiful home?" she demanded. "Have you ever been treated better or had so many servants to look after you? You are an ungrateful little girl." A few days later, there was great excitement in the house because her Sesaman, Clara's father, had returned at last. Fräulein Rottenmeier told him at once that Heidi was not a suitable companion for his daughter. Her Sesaman replied that Clara was very happy with her new friend, and that was more important than anything else. Her Sesaman stayed at home for only a short while before setting off on his business travels again. But the day after he left, a letter came from Clara's grandmother to say that she would be arriving the very next day. Clara was overjoyed. Clara's grandmother had twinkling eyes and wore a lacy frill over her white hair. Heidi called her Madam at first, as Fräulein Rottenmeier had told her to do. But the old lady smiled and said Heidi should call her Grandmama, as Clara did. Grandmama was surprised to learn that Heidi could neither read nor write, and she promised to read to Heidi every day while Clara rested. So, one afternoon she called Heidi to her room and showed her a book with beautiful pictures in it. As Heidi looked at the book, she came upon a picture of a shepherd in a lovely green pasture at sunset. All at once, tears began streaming down Heidi's cheeks. Grandmama took Heidi's hand.
"Don't cry, child,"
she said gently.
"Does the picture remind you of something? There is a beautiful story about it, and I am going to read it to you. So dry your eyes and be happy again."
Heidi stopped crying at last, and Grandmama told her she could keep the book when she had learned to read for herself. Heidi felt much happier when she was with Grandmama, but she was still very homesick. As the days went by, she lost her appetite and grew thin and pale. At night she lay awake, longing to be back in the mountains. When she finally fell asleep, she dreamt of pine trees and fields of buttercups. Each time she woke up and realized she was still in the big bed in Frankfurt, she would weep quietly, her face pressed into the pillow so that no one should hear. Grandmama noticed how pale Heidi had become, but when she asked what was wrong, Heidi would not tell her. She didn't want Grandmama to think she was ungrateful. One day, Grandmama told Heidi that if she had any troubles, she should pray to God for his help. So, Heidi prayed every night, beginning to be allowed to return to her grandfather. Soon, after Clara's teacher was amazed to discover that Heidi could read, that evening, Grandmama gave Heidi the beautiful picture book, just as she had promised. Before she went to bed, Heidi read aloud to Grandmama and Clara, and from then on her greatest pleasure was to read the stories over and over again. Thank you.